No DQ Galaxy, we are live with a recap of AEW Dynamite for November 20th, 2024. AEW Full Gear is this coming Saturday on pay-per-view, Newark, New Jersey. Let's get to the Dynamite recap. We had the opening video package, which was Guns N' Roses, the song November Rain. They aired a 6-7 minute video package on Collision, and this was a shorter version. It was like a minute or two. This was probably the most effective thing on the entire episode of Dynamite as far as building up the pay-per-view. You use a Guns N' Roses song, it's difficult to not make people interested. It would really take a major screw-up of epic proportions to get people not invested when you're using a Guns N' Roses song. Anyways, we opened up the show with an 8-man tag team match. Ricochet, Powerhouse Hobbs, Will Ospreay, and Mark Davis going up against the Don Callis family. Kyle, Fletcher, Lance Archer, Brian Cage, and Konosuke Takeshita. Now, they immediately started brawling on the stage. Eventually, order was restored. We had our tag team match in the ring. Now, early on, Powerhouse Hobbs got his leg lodged in the steel steps, and Will Ospreay was sent into the steps. Hobbs was hurt. He was helped out to the back by an official. He was out of the match. Eventually, Will Ospreay was able to get the hot tag. Him and Mark Davis double-teamed Takeshita with a cutter, and then things started to break down. Lance Archer and Brian Cage got in there. They helped out Takeshita. Then Powerhouse Hobbs hobbled back. He got in the ring. He cleaned house. Then Davis tagged in. Davis went at it with his former partner, Kyle Fletcher. Then everybody got in the ring, started hitting their big moves. It came down to Ospreay and Fletcher, but then Ospreay accidentally hit Davis with the hidden blade, and then Takeshita was able to pin Davis with the knee strike. So miscommunication. Bad guys win, picking up the momentum heading into the pay-per-view. This was good. This was a good match. Dare I say, this was the highlight of the show as far as the in-ring action went. Hard to have a bad match with these 8 guys in there. It was fun. It was a nice match to open up the show. Next up, we had a Death Riders backstage promo. They hyped up the main event, Orange Cassidy versus Wheeler Yuta. And then Claudio vowed to end Darby Allin. Next up, we had the Hurt Syndicate arriving. MVP announced that Bobby Lashley will be in action on Dynamite. And then Swerve Strickland showed up out of nowhere and attacked Lashley with a chain shot to the head. We then had Adam Cole, baby, coming to the ring, doing the boom. To me, he's the guy that's all about the boom. I'm not sure who these other guys are talking about the boom, but more on that in just a few moments. MJF was brought up by Adam Cole, even though Adam Cole's not wrestling MJF. It's Roderick Strong versus MJF. Adam Cole said MJF is going to get an ass whipping. And then we had Kyle O'Reilly come out there. And there's a reason why Kyle O'Reilly doesn't talk much. He tried to get this point across that Adam Cole is possibly going to get hurt, that this is too dangerous. This crusade with MJF needs to stop before somebody gets hurt. He said that MJF is more of an evil bastard than Cole could ever be, and that's a good thing. And then he left. this did nothing for me. I don't care about this. MJF is an evil bastard. I'm not buying it. I'm just not invested in the storyline. I thought this promo segment was awkward. I have no desire to see Roderick Strong versus MJF. This was a thumbs down for me as far as this segment goes. Now, we'll talk more about MJF and Roderick Strong here in just a few moments. Backstage, Orange Cassidy was interviewed. He said he is going to beat Moxley all by himself. And you had Mark Briscoe, the conglomeration, come in, and Orange made it very clear he does not want their help. He said that they need to stay away. He made them promise to not get involved in his business. More on that in just a few moments. Next up, we had our one women's match of the evening, not at 9:30. They did it early this time. We had Kris Statlander versus Hikaru Shida. It was a decent match, basically a showcase match for Kris Statlander. It was face versus face, so they shook hands. It was competitive. Shida's a former world champion, but she was not able to get the job done. She went for the katana, but Statlander was able to counter it with the Wednesday Night Fever and pick up the victory. And then after the match, we had the worst bodyguard in history, Camille, with her arm in a sling, with Mercedes Moné show up. Mercedes cut a promo, said she's never going to lose the title. She ripped into Reading, Pennsylvania, and she put over Boston to get the crowd heat. And then she told Camille to get in the ring and finish off Statlander. So Camille has one good arm. She gets in the ring. She tries to punch Statlander, but Statlander easily gets the upper hand. And Shida was there. Shida helped out too. They double-teamed Camille. Mercedes attempted a cheap shot, but Statlander countered her and laid her out with the Wednesday Night Fever. And that was that. Statlander holds up the title, and yeah, we'll talk about predictions Thursday night. For anybody that's actually interested in the predictions video, we'll be doing it Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. We'll be giving our picks for AEW Full Gear. I mean, this is more or less what I expected with Statlander getting the upper hand here. You want to build her up as the challenger. I would have actually liked it if Camille was faking the injury and they actually did some kind of setup and gave some heat to Mercedes. I don't know. Camille is just not panning out. I don't know if this is going to lead to a babyface turn for her, but yeah, like I said, worst bodyguard ever. Imagine Diesel having a bum arm and coming out there and getting beat up by people. Diesel would have never been WWF champion. Just saying. Now we had MVP and Shelton Benjamin backstage attacking a guy who just happened to have the same coat as Swerve Strickland. What are the odds of that? And then we had Bobby Lashley versus two guys. One of them was named Cheeseburger, and I believe he wrestled in Ring of Honor. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I feel like I've heard of this guy before, and he's like a local favorite in Pennsylvania. Anyways, the crowd did like him. He got one of the best reactions on the show. But yeah, this was a squash match. Bobby Lashley beat him, won with the Hurt Lock. And then afterwards, Swerve's music hit. Prince Nana came out there with a chair, and it was a distraction. You had Swerve Strickland come out from under the ring, and he had his chain. He's like the junkyard dog. He's got the chain around his neck. He's using it as a weapon. He takes out the Hurt Syndicate, lays them out, and then takes his leave and celebrates in the crowd with the fans. I mean, yeah, you gotta build up Swerve a little bit leading into the pay-per-view. Lashley did get beat down, but Swerve had the chain, and you just can't have the three guys destroy Swerve as a build-up to the pay-per-view. I have an opinion on where this is going, so I'll save it for the predictions video. I actually didn't really have a problem with this, although they did fall for the bait. But you know what? They're heels, and it's better than the baby faces falling for the trap. So I'll say that much. I'll give them a little bit of credit on that. I feel like Swerve needed some momentum here. So to me, it wasn't a terrible segment. You know, could have been better. They could have just done a back and forth promo segment and done something to build up some heat. But yeah, this is what they went with. And I'm like, whatever. Didn't really bother me too much, but at the same time, didn't blow me away or anything. Now we had Darby Allin versus Claudio in a singles match, and Darby went for the coffin drop to the outside very early on, but Claudio caught him. He pounced, tackling Darby, sending him into the barricade, and then gave him an uppercut over the barricade and suplexed Darby back into the ring, like had him up in the vertical suplex and walked up the steps, which it's impressive. I mean, Claudio's a strong guy, but Darby's also like 130, 40 pounds, whatever, soaking wet. So it's not as impressive as like picking up a 250 pounder, just saying. Anyways, back in the ring, Claudio was mostly dominating. Darby did have his little brief moments trying to make a comeback, but then they ended up on the outside again. Claudio gave him the giant swing into the steps, and then Claudio took Darby onto the announce table, hoisted him up, and slammed him all the way onto the timekeeper's table. So once again, Darby just taking some crazy bumps here. Claudio got back in the ring. Darby attempted to get back in, and he actually did beat the 10 count, but then, of course, he was immediately pinned after getting hit with the table, or not the table, the uppercut from Claudio. Claudio picks up the win over Darby Allin. It was entertaining. Darby takes a beating. It's his usual deal. Match was fine. Then we had MJF at a trailer park. He drove up and he cut this promo on Roderick Strong. He's happy that Strong got the match because now Adam Cole get to watch Strong suffer. And MJF vowed to send Strong back to the trailer park. Apparently, Roderick Strong's mother shot Strong's father, and MJF said he's going to beat Strong so bad that Strong's mom will want to shoot her son instead of the dad. This, to me, was really desperate to build up heat for this match. I don't care about this match. So MJF can throw out that line, but man, I do not care about this whatsoever. I have no desire to see Strong versus MJF on pay-per-view. Like, if this wasn't my job, I would not pay $50 to see this match by any means. Honestly, there's no match as good as AEW pay-per-views are, and that's like the one thing they have going for them, is that they have a track record of great shows. No match going in, I feel like paying $50 for. And this included. I hate to say that about MJF. I would have rather had seen MJF in the arena, but I don't know what his situation is like. Where is he? Like, I know he's been doing the movie with Adam Sandler, but I don't even need to see the match to begin with. But if they were going with this, I think we really needed MJF in front of the crowd to truly sell it. The promo did nothing for me, and I hate to say that. As highly as I have thought about MJF, the shtick is running cold. I really hate to say it. We need something, man. MJF's gotta do something to get back on track. We had a backstage promo with the tag team champions, Private Party, and the Costco guys. Now, their gimmick apparently is that they say the word boom a lot, and it's gone viral. I don't get it. It seems dumb to me. Adam Cole says boom, and I don't get it. I mean, Adam Cole came out with a spray tan that a lot of people didn't like, but still, I prefer the Adam Cole boom over these guys. Like this, I guess they're trying to get some publicity, and these guys are popular. But yeah, I have no desire to see the boom guys on any wrestling show. If they were on WWE, I would have the same thoughts. They're having a match on the kickoff, the buy-in, whatever you want to call it. Do not care. And then Tony Schiavone was on the stage. He spoke to Roderick Strong. Strong said he feels like a kid on Christmas morning. He's finally going to get his hands on Max. And he said that he earned everything he has, unlike Max, who was spoon-fed everything. We've heard this story. MJF's the rich kid, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's played out. And you had Strong saying he's going to break his back, make him humble. I guess a little bit of an Iron Sheik reference there. Promo didn't do enough for me to make me care about the match. So, yeah, I'm just waiting for something bigger for MJF. And this could have been on an episode of Dynamite. Just saying. Then we had footage of Danny Garcia kidnapping Jack Perry. And this happened on Collision. So they re-aired the footage. And Garcia was smashing up Jack Perry's bus. And, they were rambling back and forth at each other. Blah, blah, blah. Another match I have no interest in whatsoever. Then, we're on a roll here. Matches I do not care about. Chris Jericho and Ishii, they had this backstage contract signing segment. I should deduct a letter grade just for this. With Renee Paquette. And Jericho took the contract and walked away. And Ishii walked away. So this was supposed to be comedy. Jericho's walking away from Ishii. Ishii's walking after him. And they walk all the way to the ring. I thought this was incredibly dumb. But I'm sure some people found it amusing. I'm not interested whatsoever in it. So they get in the ring. Jericho said he can't sign the contract because he doesn't have a pen. Ishii just happened to have a pen. But then Big Bill and the Bad Apple attacked Ishii. And then Mark Briscoe and Rocky Romero made the save. And then Ishii signed the contract. And by the way, this isn't even on the pay-per-view. So this is TV time they could be using to build up one of the matches for Full Gear. And this is just a match on Dynamite next week. Like, couldn't they just say, okay, next week it's Jericho versus Ishii one more time? Did we really need a contract signing for this match on Dynamite when you have a pay-per-view that you really need to be pushing strong and getting people interested in the pay-per-view? I mean, this is something, again, if it's not my job, I'm changing the channel. I'm turning it off when I see these guys. And Ishii almost looks like a little kid standing next to Jericho, and he's supposed to be this tough guy. I'm not buying it. I just have no interest. I have no interest in the Ring of Honor title. I do not care. Then we had Jamie Hayter cutting a promo, and she was interrupted by Julia Hart. Julia had this bow and arrow, and she hit her bullseye. She's supposed to be all scary and intimidating. I thought the video package was kind of a cool idea, and the video packages have been well done from a production standpoint. But Julia Hart, I don't know if she's the right person to really be in this role of being intimidating. I'm not sure I buy it, but I did think that the video package was well done. I will give credit to the maker of the video. that I do think it was a well-produced video. So yeah, we'll see what happens when Julia Hart comes back. They've been teasing this for a couple weeks. We then had our main event segment of the evening, which was Orange Cassidy, Pockets versus Wheeler Yuta. These guys have their history from the Best Friends, but man, the crowd just did not care much about this. Orange Cassidy is in your main event of a major pay-per-view and not much of a crowd reaction. Yuta got the upper hand for a while. He gave Orange a brain buster on the barricade, and then Orange was able to fight back after the break. He had a Michinoku driver, but Wheelie kicked out, and then Wheelie came back, hit a pile driver. Orange kicked out of that. Yuta was starting to get frustrated, so he brought a chair into the ring, but Orange was able to avoid the chair shot, roll up Yuta, and get the 1-2-3 victory. Match was all right. Obviously, Orange Cassidy needed to win here, but yeah, he should have beat this guy more decisively. I mean, if anybody's the weak link of the group, it's Yuta. So, you could have had Orange Cassidy win in a little bit more dominating fashion. So after the match was over, Pac showed up. He attacked Orange, and then the Death Riders came in. They had duct tape. They taped up Orange Cassidy so he couldn't use his hands. And it was like a 5-on-1 beatdown. And nobody came out to help Orange because Orange demanded that nobody come out there to help him. So he got beat up. And then for some reason, he started doing his kicks. And Moxie just punched him in the face. And then they left. Good guys showed up. Then Orange was freed from his tape. And then he got up, put on his sunglasses, and, well, that was the go-home segment to close out the show. I think what they were going for here was you don't want to make the Death Riders look weak, but you also don't want to make Orange Cassidy look weak, so this is what they came up with. Death Riders beat him up, but he gets back to his feet. He's still standing, and I'm not feeling it. There were a lot of moments on this show where I felt like I was watching WCW 2000. Nothing is as bad as WCW 2000, but just the acting on the show to me felt very amateur hour, like the Jack Perry and Daniel Garcia stuff. When these guys actually try to act, it feels like a high school play. And then you got Roderick Strong trying to act, and it just doesn't work for me. And the crowd, one of AEW's strongest things that they had going for them was the red hot crowds, like the vibe, the atmosphere of Dynamite. The crowds were red hot, and that's not the case here. Like, they were dead for most of the show. They barely reacted to anything. When they did react, you hear like a little scattering of applause, but not much. I mean, the crowds are into the wrestling, but they're just not really invested in the storylines and the matches that are being built up for the pay-per-view. I was really hoping that this show would have been a home run, that they would have had some hot angles to really sell people on Full Gear and get people invested. But I was bored. I'm just going to flat out say it. I was bored with this show. I was really struggling to care about anything that was happening on it. I think for a go-home show, it was really weak. I'm going with a C- for the show. I mean, to me, this was bottom tier of AEW Dynamite shows. I felt like for a go-home show, they really needed to step up to the plate. The opening match was really good. I mean, to me, that is what keeps it above the D territory. Like they at least had one really good match on the show. But, back in the day, you look at those old Dynamites. I mean, they had maybe like 3 or 4 really great matches throughout the course of the show. Like it was hot from start to finish, and the crowds were reacting to everything. And you had some great promos too. I mean, you didn't even have a great promo on this show. MJF's was lackluster. Roderick Strong's was lackluster. The Kyle O'Reilly one was lackluster. So you didn't even have the good promos on this show. No real good promo. And the wrestling was all right. You had one really good match. But yeah, not much else. And I thought the Lashley Swerve thing was fine, but not nearly enough to really make me care about Full Gear. I mean, to me, that's the match I'm most interested in going in. Bobby Lashley versus Swerve. And I do have my prediction for that. I feel pretty confident with all my predictions too for this show. Like, I'm not really expecting any surprises, but we'll talk about that Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And maybe with the panel, we can talk about some possibilities, and perhaps it'll get us all a little bit more hyped for the show. But yeah, I'm not feeling Full Gear. Like this has been arguably the worst buildup for an AEW pay-per-view that they've ever done. And there haven't been a lot of good ones this year. Like post-Revolution with Sting, like it's definitely gone downhill. Maybe All In was pretty good, but then, All Out I don't think was great. Wrestle Dream I didn't think was great. And to me, this has been pretty weak. They really need something. We need some kind of a creative shakeup because AEW feels the coldest it's ever been. They really need to shake things up. The fact that I had to put the Costco guys in the thumbnail because I couldn't think of any other interesting segment that might attract people to this stream, that tells you something. Anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I apologize if you're a big AEW fan. I'm just trying to give the most constructive, honest feedback on it possible. Shout out to Uthman, though. Uthman's going to be with us on Thursday night for the predictions. Thank you for the super chat. I very much appreciate it. Uthman will be on. Uthman's going to the show at Full Gear. And you know what? If you're in Newark and that area, if you're in New Jersey, New York, I would still recommend going to the show because AEW will deliver on the pay-per-view. Like, it'll still be a great show. I do think that they will tear the house down with a lot of those matches, and it will be your usual great card. It's kind of like some of those NXT shows where even if the buildup wasn't great, the takeovers were always guaranteed to be awesome. And that's how it is with AEW. Tony Khan knows how to book great pay-per-views, even if they are too long. But yeah, I would say go to the show, buy a ticket if you're in the area, even if the card doesn't seem that great. I think you'll still enjoy the show. So I'm still putting over AEW. I'm still giving them credit for the pay-per-views. I just really wish that they could do a better job with their pay-per-view build-ups. And, other than the quality of the pay-per-views themselves, like things are feeling pretty bleak right now. They got their TV deal and the pay-per-views are still great. But beyond that, like Dynamite's even feeling like a skippable show these days. And I really hope they can turn that around. So thank you again, Uthman. I appreciate that. Looking forward to seeing you on the stream. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. I appreciate the continued feedback from everybody on the No DQ channel. Leave your comments, leave your thoughts, and we'll see what happens next with AEW. I'll see you guys for the Full Gear predictions video. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.